Hi guys, I want to talk about drawing a line in between generations. What that means is this: there are some things that I struggled with in my life, maybe my dad struggled with, my grandfather struggled with. There are things, problems, addictions, things like that, depression even, that can run down in families. I want those things to stop with me. I don't want to pass them to my children. I would love if history recorded that certain things ended in my life and didn't pass on to my children. I hate to admit it, my wife cringes when I talk about it, but I was in a bowling league in high school. Yeah, I bowled. I had a bowling ball. I even had shoes. That makes it the ultimate nerd thing. I had my own shoes. So anyway, in this bowling league, I remember it was on Saturday morning and we used to bowl, and I had 3 terrible frames. I mean, I just couldn't hit anything. No strikes, no spares, open frames 3 times, and that's bad. And this older lady was watching, and I remember she came down and she took a pencil. Now, this is back in the days when you didn't have computer scoring. Yeah, I'm old. You wrote it with a pencil, and they had a scoring table. She came down on the scoring pad there, and at the end of that last bad frame, she just drew a line. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "That's a fence." I said, "What does that mean?" She said, "All those other frames are done. That fence protects you, and you don't have to carry that same mess into the next frame." Really sounded stupid, but guess what? It worked. It gave me just what I needed mentally to just put those frames, the mistakes, behind me and start afresh. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about drawing a line in between generations. Whatever was there in the past stops, and your children, the next generation, go free, unhindered by that bondage that was in your life. We've talked a lot about Jacob, our friend, and what a struggle he had. If you haven't seen the previous videos on Jacob, go to the playlist that's called Authentic Relationships here on this channel, and you can watch a few of those to catch up on the story of Jacob. To make a long story short, Jacob struggled with a bad label all his life. His parents named him Deceiver when he was a baby, so he spent most of his life deceiving. He came to a point, and we talked about it in the last video, that he wrestled with God all night. And at the end of that wrestling match, he asked God to bless him, and God blessed him with his real name. You see, Jacob's true God-given identity was not Deceiver. His name was Israel. God gave him a powerful name. There's a story later on in Jacob's life that I think a lot of people miss. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but it almost brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. At the end of his life, or later in life, in Genesis 35, it says his wife Rachel was giving birth to her last child, and the delivery was so bad that after the child was delivered, after the boy was born, Rachel actually died. But with her last breath, it says this in Genesis 35:18, with her last breath, Rachel almost made the same mistake that Jacob's parents made. She said this: she named him Ben-Oni, which means son of my sorrow. Can you imagine what that child would have gone through the rest of his life, being labeled as causing his mother's death? She just about passed on this lie over his life, this horrible identity, just like it had been done to her husband. But what's so powerful about this verse, it says Jacob stepped in. It says the baby's father called him Benjamin. He said, "No, you're not going to do to my son what was done to me." The name Benjamin means son of my right hand. And Benjamin grew up to be powerfully used of God to actually help save his nation, save his family. All because a father said, "No, I'm drawing a line. The struggle I had is not going down to my son." How can we do that? How can we make sure that our same struggles don't live on in future generations? One of the ways is to continually speak blessing over your children. Parents, be careful at what comes out of your mouth and what goes into those children's ears, because it can lodge in their heart and become an identity. I want to encourage you with that so much. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. We're a growing number of subscribers. If you don't want to miss anything, hit that little red button right down there and you'll be in on all of them. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.